Good morning, it's 8:30 a.m. and we are here for a commissioner consent agenda review meeting. I don't know where that folder.
We do have one walk-on item from the sheriff's office.
Contract for Live Nation.
Got it in, eh?
Last minute.
Nice. What's the payables? $10 million transfer.
So that's good.
Minutes. City SIP extension. LDC contract. Is there anything you want to see on that one? Anything particular?
Pardon me? Which contract you talking about?
That's the 5-year plan contract.
You know what fund it'll be paid out of?
Yeah, the recording fee one. We have, I think, maybe 240 or something in there. I want to say. It's our homeless grant admin fee account. There's not much in there, maybe like 30,000 when it was at the peak per year.
I just got an email from the sheriff's office, just an FYI that the admin team is out for a conference, but Under Sheriff Mansford is going to try to call in for the update. FYI.
used this company before for this homeless?
No. Cindy Matthews to Solid Waste Committee. Sunland Estates. Sarah, your license. Location change for cannabis grow. Wood company. Where's this one? Bull Rock, Washington. I've never been there. A lot of change of locations, huh? Oh, wow. Seattle. Night vision binoculars. Any consent agenda items? Any questions on?
No, I was just looking over that contract. I didn't see anything on it that needed to be different. Everything else looks good. On these cannabis licenses, I don't know if I've asked this question before, but we deny the ones in an ag zone because it's against prohibited. But then it seems like the state just overrides us, allows it anyway.
Yeah. Correct. The Liquor Cannabis Control Board.
We may as well not even deny it then. Still-
Well, so they used to, the commissioners, when marijuana was legalized, didn't take a stance on it. They just let it kind of do whatever. And it was because they didn't want to acknowledge it basically in a conservative area. So the issue that happened though, without putting regulations on it, where grow operations went next to housing, they went, you know, in weird places because they could, because there was no code or zoning designated for it. So now we're trying to do all of that by adding it into industrial areas with water and stuff. But now we have to deny them all that aren't in those zoning. So, and the state's going to allow them to go because we didn't have a code at the time,
We didn't address the situation when it came up.
pretty much.
We just
So
ignored it.
they exist, they're non-conform, they're what do they call them? Existing non-conforming. So,
Non-conforming use and until they close down. If they ever close down, then
then they wouldn't be able to do it anymore. Yeah. Are there any other items you would like to discuss? Are there any other things for us? Is Barb here today?
She is.
Do you have anything for us, Barb?
I don't, but good morning.
Hello. All right, well then, we'll take a recess until 9 a.m. We're back for Public Works update. Good morning, it's 9 a.m. and we are here with Public Works for an update. We have Andy and John with us today.
Good morning.
Howdy.
We'd like to start with our accomplishment updates by John Brissy.
Good morning. So our full-time litter crew did a lot this week. Looks like 1.59 tons. Lots of illegal dumps. A lot of the Moses Lake area, it looks like they hit. At solid waste, 2,755 net tons received this week. The road crews are, again, they're grading and rock raking in all three districts. Some gravel replacement, so black rock are issues out there. They're continuing to work on those holes and fill in some of those where we don't have the water standing. We're not doing a lot more than that. We're not trying to build a road, but we're trying to fill those holes so that water will drain out of the road. It's still a primitive road at the end of the day, so. Let's see, some pre-leveling both districts 2 and 3. crack filling continues. Well, they finished last week actually in District 3. So now everybody will be doing pre-leveling right before we start seal coat here in June. Lots of prep for seal coats, installing bases for our warning signs, watering piles of gravel, organizing. They're having meetings with the HEO people this week as well. We had a call out for a fatality on Thursday at Road H and 12 Southeast. It was right at the county line with Adams County. Adams County contacted Grant County for help because it was just right there where we had to close their side, our side. I understand it to be a one-person fatality, but I'm not positive of any information on it. The sign shop is installing transverse rumble strips, so the rumble strips before the stop signs. Did some street sweeping and cleaning in all 3 districts. They're mowing down in Mattawa. And also the other roadside, they're doing more work there on Black Rock, which is pulling in the shoulders around those holes to put that material in there, as well as the material we're hauling in to mix with it and compact. And then that'll give the water a place to escape on the low side when it does rain or melt again. And then last thing, 7.8 Northeast, that gravel to oil, they did end up sweeping it last week. So that is ready for a second shot. When we start doing seal coat, we'll swing through there and give it a second shot of oil. So, any questions?
How's the litter crew going?
It's going good. They're still, so we've been having them like walk the roadside until noon. And then to be honest with you, they're pretty tired. We haven't figured out a good way, like we've tried those picker grapplers so they're not bending over constantly. Then at noon, we have them go do illegal dumps where they're a little more driving, not quite all that walking, but they're doing good. They're getting a lot done. We just kicked around some different ideas on something to help so they're not bending over that many times. And so they're figuring it out, but I think they're off to a good start.
You just have your road districts saying, hey, a lot of tires right here.
It's both. We have solid waste staff. They mostly seem to answer to our foreman, Jeff Phillips. He's kind of in charge of it, but then our road foremans will let Jeff know if they see illegal dumps or things like that, because it's impossible to cover the whole county. So
Do you get citizen complaints too?
Yep. So, but no, I think they're off to a good start, and we'll get all the tools and tricks figured out, make it a little easier on them.
That's part of the road foreman's job, is to keep, as they're driving roads, is to write down tree trimming, ditching, garbage. And so they keep a list, and then they can send those things into them.
Makes sense.
Well, in this way, we're hitting a little bit of both. We're doing a lot of roadside, and we're getting a lot of our illegal dumps cleaned up. And that'd be a tough job, especially since we haven't figured out a good way that they're not bending over for every candy wrapper that they find. But I think it's off to a good
Don't
start.
they just make the little claw and have some
They-
kind of little like fish net that comes off of them? Like,
Yeah, they had some grapples left over that the seasonals were using, and they just don't work for a lot of stuff. They'll work great for a beer bottle, things like that, but individual wrappers, they don't pick them up. So I suggested one thing is that they look at those that are being sold in the medical field. I know when my dad had his stroke, he had one that he could pick up tons of little stuff with. And so that was just
I wonder if you
Thursday.
could just do one of the big vacuum packs.
Yeah.
They're not that heavy, and then you could just, one guy's picking up bottles and stuff, and the other one's just sucking up the.
Yeah, like a backpack deal or something. That's a good idea.
I do that, but I don't have the backpack one. I like sling it over myself.
Yeah. That's good, but no, they're getting it figured out. And 1.6 tons, that's quite a lot of garbage.
On the road side of the road.
Yeah,
It's not much when you think about illegal dumps, because it's usually
Yeah.
lots of stuff for couches, but when you're picking up individual bottles and cans and wrappers, that's
Yeah,
a
it's a
lot of
lot.
weight. It's a lot of picking up.
and we'll, I don't know, we're gonna need a few months, I think, before we notice a huge difference, but they're hitting that area around the transfer station in Moses Lake till noon and then headed down. We found some really bad dumping area down in Mattawa. So they ran down there and picked up a pickup and dump trailer load and came back with that. It's so there's lots of options right now for,
Seems like that area is an issue.
it is for sure. And then north of town here, north of Quincy and Ephrata, that's got a lot of dumps off our roads, always has. So, any other questions on that?
No, it's just wild that they dump, illegal dump, because in Ephrata at the landfill, is it like a minimum $5 charge?
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, I get Moses Lake, I think it's 15 or something, like it does a lot more over there, but if you're like near it,
I know.
it doesn't even cost
The
much.
tickets are more expensive than going to the dump 5 or 6 times.
Dump truck, yeah. I mean, I drive off my dump trailer over and dump it here when I come to town, because it's $20,
Yeah,
$25 full.
yeah, not bad. So then the board request was a Potato Hill Road update, and we spoke to Dave, and we have currently there's a road petition with us, and to be honest with you, not a lot has been done on it. Personally, I would like, we talked about lane narrowing, wider fog lines, things like that. I would not like to do any of that until our safety plan is done. And then it potentially could be a part of that. And Catherine Brand is working on that safety plan right now. We have a grant for it. As far as lowering the speed limit, I'm open to that right now. But I think changing lane widths, things like that, I would be more comfortable after the safety plan is in
What
place.
would we need to do to make that happen as far as lowering the speed limit? A resolution or?
Yeah, well, we need a request, and I think we have that in that petition. We're supposed to evaluate it and score it, and, Dave just said they haven't gotten to it yet. So, we have 2 positions open in our engineering. I'm gonna talk to HR on Thursday about putting our engineer job, promoting it on Prothman. We've already spoken to them. We'll see if we can get that done.
We talked
Thursday.
about it yesterday
Yeah,
in
we talked about it
PMRT.
yesterday,
yeah.
too,
So, but the widening or the narrowing of the lanes or wider fog lines, that's all could be part of, that's what we're addressing with that Safe Streets for All grant. Is things like that and things we can try and potentially when we get done with the safety plan, there could be some funding for changes like that. Because they have a demonstrative grant phase where you're allowed to, data driven, of course, but try different methods to see if it helps. But lowering the speed limit, I'd be opening to listen to that right now.
I'm not positive. Potato Hill Road may be part of the seal coat area this year there. It seems like it's right in that area, so it could be part of the seal coat this year. I'll have to verify that, but that might be an opportune time when we go to restripe to do that narrowing if it is part of the seal coat, because we're gonna cover all the striping now if we do it.
Yeah, we should do that and lower the speed limit.
Okay.
I mean, it's been needed for a long time. There's been several accidents out there.
Well, there were like 3 last weekend.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can't imagine how many will be there this weekend.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it's a racetrack out there for some reason.
Because they go fast when they get out there.
Well, they can go fast out in sand dunes.
Yeah, just wait a minute.
Exactly.
And the UGA speed limit, that was also your request. I'm not sure what you want to discuss on that.
We were
Is
just
it-
talking to Dave about doing basically a UGA blanket 35.
Okay. And you'd spoke to Dave about that? Okay.
Yeah, quite a lot, honestly.
Well, Barb O'Neill put out a UGA map in that Moses Lake area. And it was sent to Barb Vasquez. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but we do have a lot of roads that it makes sense to have them at 50-55 that are in the UGA. So putting them all to a 35, I don't know if that, you need to look at the map. I don't know that it makes sense for all of those within that
I
UGA.
can't tell you I've seen the map.
Yeah, I haven't-
I looked at it yesterday, but it's color coded, so it didn't mean much to me.
Can you forward it to us?
Yeah, I'm about to.
The reason why, when we say blanket UGA, is because you can't just change one sign. You can't just change one speed if there's similar areas. And so whenever we talk about it, we just kind of talk about it broadly like that.
And that's, some of that is what that safety plan hopefully will correct. It will. be-
And we're focused in Moses Lake area for the most part. I mean, I am.
Yeah.
I don't know the UGAs I don't know Royal City's UGA. So that's a list. Is there a map too?
Yeah, that should be an attachment. The map should have been on there. Was it not on?
Oh.
I did have a gal come in this morning that lives on West Shore Drive, asking about her driveway. Apparently it's too steep for her cars.
Yeah, we're addressing that right now. I think there's over 40 of them that are pretty steep. So we have Tyler Brady working on that right now.
What are their plans on?
I'm not sure yet, Kevin. I'm not sure. But we have an update hopefully next week. Tyler's working with WashDOT, and so I really don't have any information yet other than it's being looked at. And we did bring an example of a driveway. I'm sure you guys know, but part of the problem is that, they had access across their whole property. And this particular one, we gave them a 32-foot approach rather than 24. But, this is what they were used to having. And so they feel really confined by having an approach. But like I said, in this case, it's 32 feet wide.
They'll get used to it.
Yeah, so this person in particular, got this 32-foot approach here. Just north of her house, there's an approach to her garage. And just north of that, there's what she called an alley, but it goes back to the property behind her where her parents live, and that's an approach. She wants a second approach where she can make it as a loop for convenience. And we told her, we gave you 32 foot for that. It should be 20 foot for residential. Then you have to go another 20 feet between the next one. And then there's a tree there that we can't put another 20-foot approach. And we gave you a 32 instead to access all of this. Well, there's a gate back here and this makes it for convenience. And we don't do it for convenience. We've done what we've done here gave you 32 foot instead of 20 foot. So you had a larger for trailers or anything else, UPS, whatever the case, get in. She's still not happy. She's been dealing with Cindy and going through Cindy to us, but she's not gonna be happy no matter what. Problem is, if we do it for her, there's 2 or 3 more that are already wanting that as well, that if we do it for her, now we're gonna do it for everybody. Yeah, so we don't intend to give her a second approach, or well, what would be honestly a third approach.
Right.
By making the 132, I mean, they can pass each other in the approach. It's as wide as a
You could
road.
get three
Yeah,
typical vehicles side by side.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah,
If you know how to drive.
yeah, but I
that's why I
mean,
went with 2.
yeah. I don't think she's ever going to be happy with it, but I don't see where, to change it, we would need to probably cut the 32 out, put it to 20. And we're not, it's already poured, it's already done, we're not gonna go through and do it.
But it is a big change from having her entire frontage as an approach.
Well, I think that's where people are having a difficult time
Yes.
with the change.
I tried to explain to her a scenario where if you just bought a piece of property, we're going to build, you have to apply for an approach permit. And that is not a given right just because you bought property that you get to access to the county road. We determine whether there's site distance and all these other factors and whether you get an approach to the county road. It's not just a given right because you bought the property, you get that. She didn't care about that either, so. It was just an example, but she didn't care if,
Well, I think most people don't even understand.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think most people even know when you buy a piece of property that you have to go to the county and get an approach permit.
No.
You just assume you're gonna get access.
I did that once.
If they deal with the state, trying to get an approach on a state highway, they would really be frustrated because that's almost impossible.
It's $5,000 just to put in for a permit.
Yeah.
And you're not guaranteed you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
So,
So that's West Shore.
Did that map come in?
Yeah, I'm looking at the map. I do see some roads that would make sense. I don't know how you would do it so it blanketed the county fairly. Obviously, when I look at it, I see roads that it's nice to go fast on, but it doesn't make sense to me at the same time. So, like baseline is showing 50 or 55 or what's it, 60?
No, I don't think
It's a
baseline's
red
a
thick
60.
line.
That's 55, I think.
Yeah.
The red thick, isn't it?
Yellow's 55, thick red is 60, maybe it's a 50. I mean, now there's a lot of houses on there on one side, but not on the other.
I think baseline goes from 35 to 50 and then back down to 35 when it gets to Potato Hill Road.
But yeah, I don't know how you do it to where it blankets and you don't pick and choose.
My question is, I mean, if we were just to do Potato Hill Road to start with, how does that, is there any liability for us if we change that speed limit? Somebody gets in an accident or whatever? Can't imagine there would be because you're lowering the speed limit, you're not increasing the speed limit. So I would think our liability would be less.
Yeah, I would agree. The benefit of the blanket is probably more protection because you did it for every road.
Right.
We've been reactive too much in the past instead of proactive. And that's what we're trying, a big part of fixing that is that safety action plan. We would like to take let's use the UGA as an example. Maybe it's gonna recommend that we do 35 for all of it. Or, you know, if we have one intersection here and we have an identical one somewhere else, we wanna make sure that they're signed exactly the same. Because right now, we can't guarantee that. So.
So when do you think that study's gonna be done?
I would have to talk to Kat. I would think it's maybe September-ish. She's still working on crash data and she's still gathering. Shoulder widths and.
So is it possible for us to do Potato Hill to start with, and then after that study's done, we look at the rest of them?
Yeah, Dave came up with a scoring system and it takes in, I don't know, what is it, 8 or 10 factors? And then based on that score and the engineer's recommendation to you, and then ultimately it's up to you.
The last time he did that study, it came back as it wasn't supported to lower the speed limit. And vote. So that's why it is what it is now.
Do you remember how long ago that was,
It was
Rob?
like a year and a half,
That's it? Okay.
and maybe 2. Well, it's already May, so it might be 2 years. But, I mean, we kind of went at it. I think I did it 2 or 3 times. And finally it was like, well, this isn't gonna happen, so.
Well, maybe if we take that score, if it's that new, if we update the ADT, not much else has changed.
Well, ADT's coming, I mean, where they have 500 lots scheduled out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I
I
mean,
mean,
it's another one of those situations where we're being reactive. You know, now we got all these lots coming in. Let's be proactive and prepare for this to happen and do something prior to,
I think the speed thing get done, and then as far as the narrowing and stuff.
yeah,
Wait.
we could do that after that
Yeah.
study's done, or if you guys decide to do it when you do the overlay.
Yeah, we'll talk to Dave today and I'll see if I can get that scoring one from a year and a half or 2 years ago. And
Have them updated, then let's make that change.
yeah, we can bring it back to you. And like I say, ultimately, it's your decision.
Okay.
Our engineer will make his recommendation one way or the other.
I
It's
think
up
the
to
two
you
of
guys.
us are on board with that. So.
Okay. I'd like to request an executive session for 7 minutes on land acquisition.
yeah, you see 5 minutes,
Yeah.
or the whole 7.
9 o'clock or 10 o'clock.
All right, we'll be going into executive session until 9:30 a.m. for real estate acquisition, RCW 42.30.1101B. It is 9:30, we're out of executive session. And this will conclude our meeting. May have Sheriff's Office representative online, Barry Mansford is online.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, it's 9:30 a.m. and we're here for a Sheriff's Office update. We have Under Sheriff Mansford with us today.
Morning, guys.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
So, the entire admin staff is up here in Spokane at a conference, but I wanted to step out and kind of give you guys a little bit of an update on at least a couple of different things that's going on within the sheriff's office. So kind of going back to our behind the badge golf tournament. After we got everything sorted out, I wanted to let the board know that today we're going to be presenting a check for about just over $77,000 to Behind the Badge up here at this the WASPIC conference. So we consider that a pretty big win there.
Nice. Good work.
Very good.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with that. You know, everybody kind of came together here. I think you were out there, Rod, and saw it, but everybody came together and we were able to, after paying a bunch of the bills, we were able to present a nice check to them. So we're all pretty excited about that. And the second thing was I wanted to give the board a little bit of an update on this upcoming weekend, with Memorial Day weekend obviously being one of the busiest weekends in Grant County. So the sheriff's office has partnered with Moses Lake Police Department to help them with Springfest, which always tends to be kind of a problem right down there, especially with the juveniles. We've reached out to not only juvenile services, but other agencies as well to let them know that we're going to have our entire staff working throughout the weekend. We'll have, I believe it's like 9 different officers assisting Moses Lake PD during the Spring Festival area down there, primarily with the carnival, but also with the day-to-day festival stuff going on there. And then we've got a couple corrections that will be coming in and posting up down there as well with our jail van to assist with transporting prisoners to make it a little bit easier for officers that are down at Spring Fest to continue the mission down there. So we do have a one concert out at the Gorge. It's our first concert of the year. That will be beginning on Saturday with incoming traffic. I believe it's Willie Nelson and some of his other folks, so it's not going to be a too difficult of a crowd we're anticipating. We'll have some people out there Saturday. Start ramping up Sunday morning for the concert, and then it's just the 1-day concert, and we'll get people in and out, and then hopefully move on from that. I think we'll have we've got shifts scheduled for out on all the different waterways as well, so we're prepared for a busy weekend. But I think we've got a pretty solid plan for it. Does the board have any questions?
No, I appreciate the update on what you have going on.
Yeah, no, I don't have any questions.
That's pretty much all I had, was just letting the board know about the success of the golf tournament, and then what our Memorial Day staffing looks like.
Are you in Spokane for that also?
Yeah, we've Chuck is the only one that's not up here. He's at a conference down in Texas for the jail, and then the rest of us are up here in Spokane.
Okay. Well, if you need anything or something comes up, just reach out.
Right on. We certainly appreciate your guys' support for us.
Yeah. Thanks, Gary. Have a
You
great
bet.
day.
Yeah, you guys take care.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
We'll go into recess now until 10 a.m. and we're back for our HR update. Good morning, it's 10 a.m. and we are here for an HR update. We have Gina, Deborah, and Jonathan with us today. I have one quick question.
Yes,
Did you turn this into our office yet?
I'm turning it in right now.
Okay. So Barb, I keep the yellow one or the pink one?
We don't keep any of them. We just need to take a copy of the front page.
I will make you a copy and bring it to you, Caitlin.
So
Thank you
what
so
I'm trying
much.
to is figure out an easier way to do these.
Well, hopefully with,
I just wish I could just take the pink one and I turn it in and then,
with Tyler in
Everybody's
attendance,
happy.
we won't need those anymore.
yes, I did receive a concern about the time and attendance from the sheriff and how it may just not work for them. Just heard I'd pass that on to HR.
Well, I appreciate that. If the sheriff has concerns, he's welcome to come and talk to us and be part of the Tyler implementation process and talk it through with them, just like Public Works is.
I
So,
thought you were gonna say the Tyler experience.
what Tyler experience, it is an experience and a lifestyle, I have discovered. Okay, any public comments?
We have no one in the room and no attendees online.
Okay, thank you. No labor relations topics today. I do have an employee evaluation, so I'm going to ask for executive session for 10 minutes, please.
We're going to go into executive session beginning at 10:02, returning at 10:12 a.m. for evaluation RCW 42.30.1101G.
10 minutes, please.
We will extend 10 more minutes in executive session to 10:22. We're going to extend for 8 more minutes to 10:30 a.m. We are out of executive session.
Next topic is position management. Yesterday, Public Works came forward asking for a reclass of the Assistant County Engineer position. Is the board ready to make a decision on that position? Do you have any questions? Clarity? I think the one thing, if I had one request from the department, is that they don't, if they're going to archive the associate, that they don't
I'll bring it back.
bring it back in 6 months. I think it needs to be, if you're gonna do it, 2 years, keep it out, have some consistency. But
Make it permanent.
We said that the last time they made this change though. I struggle with it.
I also,
They are new, the two of them. So you kind of want to support their vision
Vision,
too.
sure.
But at the same time, it's like
yeah,
your engineer's not getting a lot of work done either. So it'd
Well,
be
and-
nice to look at that and make sure we are competitive enough to get another one.
and the reporting structure, let me look at that again. Because we do have a contracted engineer who I believe is still going to be over the engineering staff.
I don't think so. I don't know 100%, not 100% sure. I don't know if they're allowing, I think he's
So
just
they're
doing,
all reporting to John Brissy.
I think they're just having him basically sign off on engineering projects
Okay.
because he's a PE.
Oh, gotcha,
I
that's
don't
what
believe
that
there's
always
any,
did.
mhm, yeah, I don't believe there's any management that he's doing whatsoever.
That makes sense.
So contract just covers just the work, the act of approving documents after they've been gone through, and so.
So we wanted to post for internal for 5 days. That would then, the person who is qualified or persons who are qualified would be, if hired, would go from a band 14 to a band 18. And and don't have any, and aren't going to be supervising. I guess that's my challenge with it, is they're not supervising engineering staff. But department feels like that's what they need, and I have said my piece, so I leave it to the board.
So when they hire a new engineer, will they be managing the staff? Is that the plan?
A new engineer would, yes.
I don't like that one, but I'm struggling on it because I don't think it's the right move. But I do think that those two have a unique knowledge of public works. But I would like a county engineer
Yes. And
because the things that we've talked about over the last 6 weeks,
Not getting done.
they haven't gone anywhere. So there's clearly an issue. I get that he's signing off and double checking the work in the building that they need done, but
the work isn't being directed to be done.
I don't know. The work directed from us to him isn't being done, so don't really love that.
Well, and the fact that we don't really have any control over what he does or how he does it. I mean, not being a county employee, he's just contracted.
Right. But he's signing off on, the engineer is signing off. However, the department head should be, or John Brissy should be assigning the work, and the work is not being
It doesn't seem like it's getting done.
done. Okay.
Um, But I also know this is a busy time of year for public works, so I get that.
Yeah.
So it looks like your proposed wages are less than the current wages for these individuals. But
It
you're
would
taking away
be,
the
yes, they're
supervisor.
asking to reband it down because they don't, that position wouldn't be doing supervision. So, yeah, it would be a reclass down.
And I'm assuming these people are aware of that,
Yes.
and they're okay with that.
Well, the people who could apply are in a lower band anyways.
Okay.
So they're
So
bringing
if you-
back this position that has been not filled in quite some time.
Okay.
So they're bringing it back. They want to reclassify. Employees within the county can apply for that position should they choose to. And you have this from yesterday.
Yes.
So there is a name there on that, which would indicate to me that they know who will be going there, but to stay consistent, we have asked that they post
That's a
and have a
problem.
competitive process. Which John said yesterday, yes, they were going to do that. So
But don't put a name in there. Because then if you do select them, you have another potential claim if someone was able to access.
that is correct.
It's just,
But anybody can apply, right?
Anybody within the county can apply, yes, who's currently working in the county. So
we didn't open it outside, just
it
inside.
hasn't been opened at all. We're just looking for the approval for the position to be reinstated. Which was the request yesterday.
Thought she was the office engineer. Or is that an old layout? She was supposed to be doing the office engineering, the small projects, the paths, the trails, the sand dunes, the this, the that, like,
Yes,
then that never was a thing.
that is what she was supposed to be doing as the associate engineer. But as I learned yesterday, she is getting paid out of class to do this position that is not an active position, which is a whole separate concern. But we'll get back to the request, and that is,
Well, let me ask this. What do you guys recommend?
Well, she started being paid out of class without approval. We paid out of class from us, from, I'm sure you guys. Don't they have to get notified for things to do it?
no, it's out of class pay is done with in-house.
Huh, I don't like that, but
I think it's fine to bring back. I don't have a concern to bring back the position as assistant engineer. When an engineer is hired, they would probably want to have an assistant engineer in place, so that makes sense to me. Again, if we're gonna get rid of the associate engineer, they're asking to archive that, then I think it needs to be archived for a period of time. So if they're saying that we don't really need that position, we really need this position, it washes out in their budget. I mean, it's a little bit higher than,
well, they need that
Associate, but-
position because they don't have an engineer working on staff. The office engineer is a lot of the projects that we were wanting to see moving that have never done anything because they must not agree with that idea of what we wanted to do.
well, and it sounds to me like she's doing assistant engineer work rather than that work.
Which, at the time, they didn't allow for her to be an assistant engineer because of the merit, the conflict of
The
merit.
conflict of
So,
interest. Right.
but how long has she been paid out of class pay?
That I'm not clear.
That'd be nice to know. Probably for a long time, and it was just to appease our concerns.
Make a note to
I'll
check
catch
in with
on around
Andy and
here.
find
I
out.
can.
Thank you.
The thing I have issue with, and this is for just like public, because we are online, and for Kevin, is that all these issues like this, the three of us, no matter what three it is, try to not create the conflict, or we try to limit the risk.
Mhm.
And then they do whatever they want to do, and any issue that comes is then our fault. And nobody takes any accountability. They just put it on the board.
You're describing our life. Yes.
Yeah, HR is the exact same.
HR falls in that same category.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me. So I would be interested to know how long out of class pay has been, just because it was probably before he was gone.
So what I'm wondering is if
sorry.
we table this
I just-
and get more information?
Yeah, well, I said yesterday during PMRT that I would like a more in-depth meeting on their org chart if we're going to be changing that, because we had that, we had the assistant engineer, we had the engineer, we couldn't keep an assistant engineer. I don't know what the real reasons for that was. And these are two new guys basically running Public Works. I trust them, they've been in Public Works a long time.
Mhm.
I know that they don't, I wouldn't say they all, but they don't feel like they should be answering to the board, would be my only concern. And I understand their point of view, but we just need to have a better understanding and a plan, give them the opportunity to implement what they want, but be clear on what we kind of expect of Public Works is musical chairs. It's if someone they want in a position to make more money, they just create the position, change the org chart, come in and tell us how they have to have that done. And it seems like we've been doing that since I got here.
When would you like us to bring them back during our meeting next week
Yeah, can we just do that?
or their meeting next week?
Their meeting's
Or
short.
oh, we don't have PMRT next week
Why
because
not?
it's a Monday and it's a
Oh.
holiday.
What's our next week calendar? It might be short because it's holiday week.
Yeah, this isn't anything that has to happen right now, right?
There's not an emergency.
Yeah, I would rather,
Nobody's
Not
out
an
any.
emergency.
I'd rather we wait
Just paying
so that
attention.
Cindy's here as well.
Yeah, I mean, if we could do it during your update next week, that would be cool.
Okay.
Or we could do it at 3:00. Because we shortened our days. Then it doesn't interrupt either of your updates, depending on what your update is
I
next
would
week.
probably prefer that if there's a special meeting with them. That way, if we have something that we
Yeah,
specifically
are you good with
address.
that? 3:00 on Monday?
Oh, Monday is a holiday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah, sorry. Barb, did you get that?
It's Caitlin. I heard it. It'll be, do you want it for an hour?
Yeah.
It'll be at 3:15 after the Public Works surplus.
Perfect. They'll already hear.
Yeah. Make sure you invite John and Andy and let them know it's about the org chart and the assistant engineer position, and then current and future plan.
Yes, sir.
Next topic on my agenda, item 7, recruitment. Just want to get some guidance on the board, get your direction for the county administrator, who you would like on the hiring committee. It can be the board, it can be one of you, it can be all of you, somebody from HR, you could bring in other elected, department head, maybe a couple department heads, no elected, I mean, it's really up.
I think one of us from the board should be on there.
I think the three of us should be on there.
My recommendation is person will be working directly for the board, and I think it's a good opportunity for all three of you to be a part of it, but do you want others involved?
You know what I would really like? No, it doesn't really work. I was thinking it'd be cool if we did 2 interviews.
Okay.
We did the board and maybe a couple electeds, and then we did the department head or offices. So like an Andy, a Brett, or like Brett Hill, or Dell. You know,
Sheriff's
Why
Office.
couldn't we do that?
no, that's what I would like to do.
Oh.
I'd like to do it different, but kind of in the same day in different rooms. Because I would like their input, but also what I am looking for in an administrator may not be what the other two board members are looking for, and definitely is not what they're looking for. Right? Because I'm looking for like Dan's reference. I'm looking for a rip, right? Like that's what I want. Dan made a reference to Yellowstone, trying to make us understand what we're looking for in an administrator. And it's looking for a rip. He knew his last name. I don't know his last name, but
Other organizations do 2 interviews, one with the direct supervisor to look at skill, ability, job performance, those types of things, and then a second interview to look at culture, fit, those kinds of things. So maybe that is something that the board wants to see, is
Yeah,
you guys look
in-
at the job duties, evaluate that for each candidate, and then send them to department heads to determine fit, culture. That way the lines are very clear. You guys aren't gonna be doing job duties. It's how do you get along? Who did you have a connection with? Who do you think would fit into the organization?
and then for me, I would like to see like Decorah and Blair, if neither are running for the administrator position, to sit into both of them if possible. But it would be nice to have them running at kind of the same time or directly after.
Makes sense. Okay. So committees, three board members have 1 interview and then a second interview with department heads. And all department heads who want to participate or hand-selected department heads?
I don't know.
And we don't have to determine that
Those
today.
available, I mean,
I would say the ones that are available and want to be
Want to
involved.
be participate?
yeah.
So I'm assuming you want to post internal and external. Okay, and do you want our standard platform? Or do you want us to go directly out to like Prothman
I
or
would like that,
GMP, which comes at an expense?
yes.
I would agree to include our county engineer.
Okay.
We need to find one.
And we need a good one.
Okay, so we will do standard platform along with Prothman or GMP. And GMP is, Prothman was started by spouses and they are no longer spouses. So the wife has Prothman and the husband, Mr. Prothman, he has GMP. So still doing the same work, just in their own businesses. So,
He's probably fun to talk to.
or she's, might be fun to talk to.
I'm pretty sure that would be a
I'm
conversation.
competing with myself.
Okay, so how long would you like it posted for?
At least 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If it's Prothman, I'd go 30 days,
30 days?
45 days.
Start with 30 and go from there.
Okay, we can do one thing that we have done is review it at 2 weeks. First review at 2 weeks if we have that kind of puts a timeline on it that we can review.
What's a Prothman listing? Is that daily, weekly, monthly? How do they charge you?
I don't know. I will look.
That would
I'll
be-
have to check it out.
I would like a full window so applicants, you can get a handful of them. They can put some actual work into what they're submitting.
Good job.
Can I clarify one thing? The invitation is just going to department heads to participate in that second interview or to elected officials as well?
I think just the department heads.
Okay.
The elected officials, I think we just bring them in to ours. Like it's a couple. I mean, it's up to you guys what you think, but
Well, do
I think-
electeds invite you to participate in who they want to hire for their employees?
no. They take our recommendations? No.
So I guess
They
that
listen to us
depends
and
on
we
if
tell
you
them how
want to,
much risk
what
they're creating
culture you
for
want
us.
to promote. Do you want
No.
to promote that they participate or?
We do that though. We
Because
did that with you. We did that with, who else did we just did with Blair? We do that. Us, they do not do that.
here's
We
what happens.
cannot tell them who to hire or fire, or what to pay, or what to do.
And what happens is when you invite people to your interviews, especially yours, where you're evaluating performance or job duties, they think that they have a say. And if they don't, are we giving them the impression that they do? So if you are going to invite them, it just has to be very clear that you're here to listen. You're here not to participate.
And so maybe because that position will be a liaison between, so maybe the second interview with department heads would be for any electeds who would like to participate. Because that will promote culture.
Yeah. Yeah, what I see though, and this is wrong, this is, it's in the past, but I see the board often trying to promote culture, but doing it just them. Like, we don't really get brought into a lot of the other stuff.
Right.
So,
But the way to change culture is
yes, you
to
are
keep
correct.
doing it,
Keep
right?
doing it.
And keep being positive and encouraging those who are reluctant to change
Mhm, mhm.
to do so by modeling good behavior. So I think that's a good plan.
Mhm.
Okay,
So yes, invite electeds to the second.
to the second interview. Yes.
And they take call place on the same day.
Yes, if we can manage to do it, we will do it. Okay. Wonderful, that's what I have on my agenda. Did the board have anything? I had schedule on there for mine as other. I gave you my leave slip for next week. A caveat to that, I will be available for the meeting on Tuesday, our meeting. I will make myself available for the meeting with Public Works and then Gina at any other time during the week, so that slip may change a little bit depending on how many hours I actually do end up working, but other than that, I don't have anything.
Anything for you, Kevin?
Oh, there was something, but I can't remember what it was. I think I already talked about it, so.
All right, well, thank you for coming. We'll go into recess until 11 o'clock.
Thank you.
When we are back for insurance update. Good morning, it's 11 a.m. and we are here for a WCRG update with Mr. Shane Heston and Blair Koch. Shane's here to deliver all the bad news.
Not bad news.
Rate increases up to 2.5 times.
You want to give me one, I'll put it on Cindy's desk.
Good morning, Kevin.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Thank you.
Morning, Commissioner Jones.
Hello, howdy.
Well, today's our monthly update. I'm going to go over our 3 different reports. We'll first start with the current policy year, and then we'll go into all open, and then we'll drill down into that one policy year that we are monitoring for you. So year to date, we've posted, this is as of May the 1st, we have posted 2 claims since then, I believe, or 3 claims.
I think 1, possibly 2.
Yeah.
That are,
So 15 claims today. We're trending actually lower than our average. We run, we're halfway through the policy year. We normally run about 42, 45 claims. So right now we're trending under average, which is good. Of course, this does develop. There are a couple in litigation. Of course, those could always be problematic, but mostly it's a, property damage. It's it's a fender bender. That seems to be the most common thing. Nothing really to stand out like, hey, this is something we're really concerned with at this point, other than those, potentially litigated claims could always take a interesting twist, case in point, Washington State's known for these crazy verdicts and this case law that's kind of hard to work with. And when I give you an update on our access report, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. Kevin, Rob, questions on the current year claims? Okay, hearing none,
We just closed claim 1722 as of yesterday. We're getting a check from Chelan County to pay for reimbursement for the gate, Sally Port gate.
These are your all open claims. They do go back to 2017. Practically all these, if not all these, are in the litigated status unless they're in the current year. All the past claims are usually, concerning with, lawsuits and, discovery and facts like that. That Carla Gray claim, comes to mind. Do we have anybody online, by the way?
No, but you are recorded.
Okay, so if you do look at claim, I'll just reference claim number W1322. If you do look at that particular one, you can see that one's definitely got a pretty good reserve. And also the very top one.
I don't know the backstory on the top one.
Yeah, it was prior to my arrival there. I think the description there is kind of self-explanatory, but it's the estate and they're arguing for something. I'm not quite sure the facts on that. I could drill down that if you're curious there, Rob.
I have information on it, but no.
Blair has that yet, probably.
Okay.
That's how
I have it.
1322 is crazy. I just think it's gonna probably, everybody that has anything to do with anything probably has a reserve set up for that one.
Yeah, we didn't think that one was going to develop like that when it first happened. And certainly then they found that shall and should in our, county code kind of hurt us on that. So
Have we changed to that?
that is a question for former Kevin's office, who's running that prosecutor's office.
Kevin's still running the office.
Kevin's still there.
Oh, he's still running there. Okay, so if you remember that conversation we had during that executive session, Kevin was going to drill down into that because he asked the question, should we change it now? Does it hurt our defense at all? And Mick McFarland said, no, absolutely change it now. This is, to prevent maybe a future claim.
Right.
And, that was that county code that was kind of adopted, shared amongst the other counties. So other counties have that same code written in there as well. So.
So we need to follow up and make sure you did that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can do that. We can reach out on that.
absolutely. I haven't really seen too much change in the case reserves on anything else yet. I did see that 1567, it was the fourth one from the top. We're expecting that one to be able to close, but we're still thinking we're gonna have, some defense costs on that. That's probably a little low on that reserve number.
Okay, I think I'm mixed up then.
Yeah.
1322 was,
That was the dog bite.
oh, okay.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and then the one right above that was one I was just mentioning a moment ago.
Yeah, I knew that one. I got those two mixed up.
Got it.
And we think the last one in that column or in that box there, we think that one's gonna get, basically dismissed. It's just a matter of process going through the motion on that one. Of course, the HR claims on there, those could always, develop at any time. Those do take a long time to kind of vet out and finalize. But all in all, we're watching 37 open claims. Right now, the current reserves, this isn't also what's paid. This is just current what's open right now. It's standing is 3.4 million. Any questions on any open claims? All right, we're gonna jump into the year that we're monitoring. And on that first page, there's really nothing really to look at. But if you go to the back page or the very last page, those are the three that we're watching. And again, I remind you why we're watching this year so carefully is because, you know, we're getting close to our total policy aggregate limit of 15 million. And, you know, how these develop, you know, that could affect, you know, if they're going to be outside of insurance, which then puts you in a position of being self-insured, which is kind of a dangerous position to be in. The good news is this looks like to be the tail end of it when these close out. If we're under that, we're fine. But going forward, we do have kind of a preventative kind of measure to think about. Really nothing here other than what we've talked about already on the three open claims, you know, the dog bite, the dangerous road design, and then the grounding down there. Is there thoughts, questions on that? And Kevin, we will follow up with Kevin's office. Changing the code. I have a feeling it probably will be changed. Because you have to sign the county code right after it's changed. Is that right? If there's a revision to the county ordinance or code, you guys have to sign it? Yeah. I thought so. Probably have to have a hearing on that and everything, so. Okay, well, we're officially halfway through the policy year according to May 1st. So trending right now pretty decent. Still got a lot of summer ahead of us. And of course, going into the winter months, that's when we see the pickup of claims. One of the things that Blair's developing, which I'm pretty excited about, is you know how we're trying to target like certain, you know, details of a claim for prevention, such as, you know, maybe location, time of day, weather patterns, time of year, certain type of vehicles, maybe a certain type of driver. Those are all the patterns. If we can identify any correlating trends, we can put some solutions in place to prevent a claim. That's really kind of a success story when we can do that at any time. And that's the more data we get, the longer we have it, the more we can analyze it, the more we can be more accurate in predicting and trending. Then we've also got a tool at Acrisure that we can run through our claims modeling program. We brought that to you a couple of years ago on our transportation. You know, that's where they came back is like, hey, it looks like you strike a lot of, you know, animals with your vehicles. And, you know, your biggest, you know, month of claims happens to be the shortest month of the year. It's February. Well, why is that? I mean, well, if you look in February, that one particular year, we had a whole bunch of snow. Yeah. You know, we get a late winter event. So, and it happens. People just aren't used to driving on slick conditions and we slip around. So any questions about the claims?
I didn't have any.
Okay. I'd like to now give you an update on our excess policies. As you know, we've been working to get you an excess policy quote with our Lloyd's of London office. Just to give you kind of a summary of details. This searches the international worldwide markets. These are the end stop for all insurance. We sent out the applications to 18 carriers. 16 of them rejected to even offer to quote. Primary reason is because we're in Washington State, and Washington State is known to have what's called nuclear verdicts. It's an unfit place to do business. They don't perform well. I mean, there's a lot of various factors. Of course, they have business here, you know, that so they can actually talk about it from experience. But we did get 2 carriers to actually say they're interested with further details, and so we drilled down into about an hour-long meeting with Blair and our underwriting team back in Bermuda and London, and answered a lot of questions. I think we put them at ease in a lot of situations. And then it actually trended in our favor because we were asking for 5. They said, no, I think we're going to be able to offer you 10, which is even better. And so right now we're looking at a $10 million excess over your 15 to give you a total of 25, which I think is a pretty good spot to be in. And our price range, we told you we'd be at $1 million. We're actually under that. So we think we're going to be in the neighborhood about $850 for that. So, you know, if you add that up, that's actually a fairly good story. So what I'd like to know today is. So
that's for excess.
Yes.
An excess liability.
Man, can we get a normal liability from them for less?
Well, no, that is normal liability, Rob.
I know, but we have the 15 million for 5 million, 5.8.
Well, that's,
You got 10 million for 850. I'm just saying, is there any
They're,
chance?
they're
you get-
excluding, some of our operations though.
yeah, sexual molestation, there's a couple, there's nothing that's really gonna affect us. We told them the big ones, law enforcement, wrongful acts, HR, those are the big ones. So in a normal market, you would be buying $1 million and then you'd be buying an excess on top of that. The county actually just buys a package, just aggregate all in one. Normally you got an occurrence limit, then an aggregate on top of that, where the county is actually just 15-15. So we're actually going to offer you a 10x, 10 million excess of your 15, but with an aggregate of at least 20 or maybe 30. So, we're going to be able to hit that aggregate number, 3 different times if we have a terrible year, terrible situation. It's kind of it's not really the doomsday scenario. I think the claims we've seen, especially this one policy year, kind of indicates that, hey, that's a little too close for comfort. We want to stay under that. And absolutely, if we can buy insurance to, secure the risk, it's a good thing. So I'd like to go ahead and present or push our underwriters to actually get you a formal quote. I should have it in a week or so. I'll make an appointment, come down and present it to you formally. Is that something you'd like for us to do?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll go ahead and kind of push forward on that. But I found it interesting. There would have been some deal breakers, Blair. What were they? If we operate any sort of dam, see, again, like Grant County, when you Google us, they think we operate the hydroelectric projects. They think we operate,
The hospitals.
the hospitals. I mean, they thought we did all that. They thought we did healthcare. We thought we did hydroelectric power,
Yeah,
just the canal system, just everything. It's like, no, we don't.
that's not us.
Not us. We don't operate the mosquito district, the weed district. I mean, those are all separate. They thought we did fire too. I said, no, we don't write any fire. The only emergency service we do is search and rescue through the sheriff's office. And so, they're comfortable with law enforcement. They're also pretty comfortable too. They really studied your claims. They give them a 20-year claims history and they really drilled down on that. And they say, hey, you trend pretty good. I think we can offer these 2 carriers one and an appetite there. So. But 16 right off the bat, just the word Washington just rejected it.
Well, yeah, it's tort law.
The tort law
Because even if you're not at fault, you still pay.
and the
So of course they don't want to.
in the joint and several and amongst other things. So
Washington needs some new legislators because they're just gonna ruin the whole, it's not even, the state won't even be able to function in their own state.
well, not to bring up politics too much, but since we are talking politics, I mean, you just can't continue to tax at the rate of 8.5% above, normal growth. That's not sustainable for us, anybody.
No.
So, anyways, on a side note, I was pleased to see Hiawatha Lake got cleaned up. It just moved over to went from the pit to the Fish and Wildlife area, so now I'm calling Fish and Wildlife. It's right in my backyard virtually, so we're.
Fish and Wildlife should have been ready and jumped right on that.
I kind of thought they should have too, but they're more worried about checking you for a fishing license up at Blue Lake, but yeah, so anyways. That's what we got. So questions for me, Kevin or Rob? Cindy's not here today, but we'll give her a briefing. We'll give her the reports and everything, so.
I would just ask that when we get down to budgeting this year, that when the changes or the rates, that we make sure that thing is clad in the budgets.
Yep.
Yeah, we should have an indication here probably within the next 3 months. That's kind of that rate to not to exceed number. We came out with the other pools on that. It's been pretty favorable for the other pools. I think the school pools is at 9%. Nonprofits were at like 8.5%, 9%.
Anything under 10 is amazing.
Anything under 10, that's kind of considered good. So we used to look at anything over 4. Now it's 10 is like, oh, that's great. It's just a different day. It is. It's expensive.
Wages aren't going up 10%.
My personal insurance,
I know.
Good.
I already texted you.
I'm paying a whopper on that. Today you did?
Yeah. It was polite.
Polite for Rob.
Yeah. Just do the ACH, Rob. You don't even know it.
Yeah. Until I do the taxes and I'm like, I pay more insurance than I made 10 years ago.
Well, Kevin, you do property management. Did you see those rates go up quite a bit for?
I don't do it anymore.
Okay, yeah, I do. a couple
I
of-
got out at the right time.
You did get out at the right time. I do property management companies. They've gone up quite a bit. And then we insure some of the buildings. There are these 40-year-old apartments. It's like stab block breakers to, lead pipes and,
Yeah.
You got the baby burner heaters in there.
Yep.
Railings. They're so picky about the railings. They're using the playground standard for the railings now. It's like, oh, we got to do the railing. It's been there 40 years. No one fell off it. Well, we want to insure it with that railing on there. So
Anything else?
that's all.
We'll
That's
take
all we got.
recess until 11:30 when we are back for department head review. Good morning, it's 11:32 a.m. and we're here for a department head review. We will be going into executive session for $23 minutes, returning at 11:55 a.m. for job applicant / evaluation, RCW 42.30.1101G. That was there. And I made an executive decision to exit. You can hand that to the four of us. I might have got donut frosting on there because I'm fat. And I couldn't turn down eating the top of the donut.
You are on.
Oh, that's fine. Okay, well, we're out of executive session and we will recess until 1 p.m. What is that 1 p.m.? I don't have that. Oh, Superior Court update. Good afternoon, it's 1 p.m. and we are here for Superior Court update with Crystal Burns.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I believe that you will start your new schedule after this meeting.
Yes.
So hopefully in those you can bring thrilling information.
Yes, I'm hoping
Court
so.
updates,
Mhm.
number of cases and trials,
Mm-hmm.
and any other complaints you would have towards the board.
I have no complaints towards the board.
Well,
Yeah.
It's only Tuesday, so that could change.
Yes, I was hoping to get some stuff for you this week, but I've been super busy trying to get, I told you last week, the local court rules. I have to have them out for comment by the end of this week. So that is a really big project I work on each year. So I'm getting that. Local court rules. So we're required now to put them out for a 30-day comment period. And so that goes out to the local bar, the prosecutor, the clerk, the public defender, so they can comment on any of our changes that we're gonna make to our local rules, so practices that they're required to follow. So that's what I've been working on. I'm down a judge for a couple weeks that's on vacation, so that's always interesting, trying to juggle that and disperse it to the other 3 that are still there. So, yeah, it's really all I have going on.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Your bailiff stuff's going good?
Yes.
You're
Mm-hmm.
happy with that?
Yep. He was
Smooth.
just in with Judge Clarkson today on our domestic violence docket. So that's been beneficial having him in there when the judge is done with the case and made her ruling. He's been filling out the orders based off of her ruling and then hand it back up to her when she's done with the case and can just sign the order. So it's making the process go quicker. So
Cool.
that's just one duty that we have him doing outside of obviously bailiffing. So we're trying to fill his time when we don't have jury trials. So he's doing things like that. So it's been very nice having him.
Sweet.
He's a good fit.
Any questions?
Probably didn't see that because you don't check your emails.
Calling him out.
Uh-oh.
Other than that, how about those Mariners? How's the weather doing?
Windy.
No? Didn't bring that one. Are you gonna bring that one up?
Just a question. I mean, it doesn't specify who this person is. I mean, how
Oh, who the person is.
are you supposed to figure out what this guy's talking about without more specifics? I'm looking at an email from a gentleman named Ray Eager.
Oh, we've been getting emails from him for years. I
regard.
don't believe he has any cases even here.
Yeah, just
He's-
throwing things
Yes,
out.
yeah. Yeah, we get emails from him, not a lot, but probably a couple times a year.
Okay.
And they're just a bunch of,
Gibberish.
yes, nothing pertaining to any particular matter. He doesn't have any cases. And, well, at least Superior Court. I don't know about District Court. I assume probably.
Okay. I'll just start that.
Yes. You'll see those from time to time from different individuals.
I need all this, so it's like,
Mm-hmm.
what is he talking about?
Mm-hmm. None of us know.
I understand now. Okay. Having said that, I have no other questions.
Okay.
All right, well then we will go into recess until 1:15 when we are back with District Court.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I get extra 4 minutes?
Good afternoon. It is 1:19 p.m. and we are here for a District Court update with Judge Quinn. Welcome. Anything to update us on?
No, I don't think so.
Do we know if the Breezeway project, security project is moving or
I
not?
haven't
moving?
heard. I saw an email from Tom trying to reach out to the guy that Desiree said is difficult to get a hold of.
Yeah,
She
But-
doesn't respond.
Yeah. And so I don't know. Desiree is out for like a long time. Well, she is at a conference and then she's on vacation. So I don't think she's back till June, some point. So I don't know if we hire our last, well, we hired our last person. She starts the first week of June to have all our clerk positions full. We are, what else did we do? I think we're trying to see if we can work with Superior Court about meeting with you guys to kind of go over GR 29, so everyone's fully aware of what's going on with that, kind of as an education thing. When Kevin met with us, he wanted to like know more about it, and so collectively as judges, we thought it would be good that everyone know that. Now, how do you get 3 commissioners and 6 judges in the same room? I don't know, but we're gonna try. So
Plenty of room.
there's plenty of room, exactly.
GR 39?
GR 29, yep. And so with a lot of the changes that are coming up with HR and stuff, I think it's critical that you guys know kind of where we're at, where we're coming from, and then, so working on that. And I think we can work on that collectively with Superior Court to like combine one of these meetings to one, if we can just get everyone there at the same time. Because they start at 1, right?
Would that be something that would be beneficial to the department heads too, or the elected officials?
Possibly, mainly HR would be my thought. But yeah, probably them as well, so. But really, it's just a kind of an education thing, because I think there's like this misconception that we're all part of it together, kind of to some degree, but with the independence of the courts, it's actually has to be separate, just the way it is, because of the separation of powers, so. And I know you got a copy of it, so we can go over that. I went over the collective bargaining agreement with Judge Barlow the other day too, and it reflects a lot of that was in there with the memo of understanding. So it's just good, I think, that we.
I always understood it as the courts, what happens in the courts, as far as the courtrooms, is a separation of what we do. But as far as like general staffing and all of that, I thought that was still in what we do.
No.
Because it doesn't make any sense then, because, okay, then, so we cut your budget, we cut a little more. It's your problem, right? It's not our problem then at that point. But it is in some ways because, you know, certain things aren't getting done now that need to be done for best community health. That's the only thing I worry about it. Not necessarily with me or even with us, but in that, I guess, I don't know, I just worry about that. A lawsuit comes out of your area, the county has to pay, but there's a separation. So now you, not you, but a court gets slapped real good on their budget. And I just think it's like I don't know, I could just see it being a problem for everyone.
I guess the issue is that could all happen, but the rules are the rules. We
Yeah.
can't really change that.
No, I get that.
And that's where I think everyone's kind of, I don't know if our the judicial branch has very much power. Financially wise, we rely on, you know, the other parts, the other branches, but we also have rules we have to follow. So I think having that clearly outlined with HR and with you guys, so just everyone kind of knows where the cooperative is and where it lies and where it kind of ends, you know, is something that's important. So there's no questions later, I guess. So. And
That'll
I
probably be a
don't,
good
I don't,
conversation.
yeah, and I don't want it to be a question later. I would like to nip it in the bud and get it over with. Not get it over, that may have been a bad word, but just hash it out. Everyone knows where we're at. Kevin was at the meeting. It was good to hash things out. And I think having you guys also know what the situation is, because I think it's our job to make sure you guys know that, because we have the pressure of dealing with it too, or having to adhere to it. But on other notes, we have expanded Moses Lake. It's a lot more busy over there. We're using that building, and we have seen a uptick of people coming to court. It's great. It's busy. Yeah. Well, you know, if you have to decide to go to Moses for the day and fight your ticket or contest your ticket versus, hey, are you going to come here? I'll just get a new court date. I'll blow it off and get a new court date. You know, I think efficiency wise, it's big. I really pushed to keep Moses Lake alive. I think it's access to the courts is huge. We have the building there. We're paying for it. Let's do something with it. So we are actually moving arraignments over there too. So historically, every arraignment, every new charge that requires a court appearance has always been held in Ephrata. We're moving them to Moses Lake too. So that'll make a big difference too. It'll cut down on the foot traffic that's here on some days where the whole complex is huge and busy. It'll increase over there a little bit, but it's going to be a good change. Keeps the judge over there a little bit more busy. So that's good too, because without a whole lot going on, that's kind of it's an isolated place for the judge anyway, because all we have over there is probation and one clerk. So to have that, it'll be a good thing. So, and that building's being put to good use. So
yeah, there's more people over there that seem to be getting in trouble, so.
Yes, I mean, it's just.
Makes sense.
We didn't get to pick the county seat, it chose us, right? So I would argue that's where it should be, but that's not what history outlaid for us, and that's where it is. So I love this place just as much, but I think one of the things that I hoped when I was appointed as judge was to expand our use of that. I think we got away from it for various reasons. One of the big reasons was the financial aspect with security and how do we get the daily intake and where does that go with it being remote? And that's where we got away from using that court. And it seemed silly just to have one thing be the reason why we kind of got away from that. I think there were some other reasons, but those have been washed away. So. I think the juvenile group is good at that little spot over there.
I think so. I'm gonna set up, I was just thinking about that while you were talking. I was gonna tell Barb to schedule me over there.
We did get approval for a refrigerator, so we're just
Unless
trying to
it's
figure out where to
90.
put that, because with that, so we can stay out of that room completely.
We have that little room, that little office across the way from your community court. That's what the plan was.
Yeah.
Was to clean that out and put it in there.
The fridge and stuff, yeah. And the other option is if we can get clearance, is to just put it in that little clerk room. But the only concern there is how many things are plugged in that room. We don't want to blow anything up either, so.
Yes, sir. Anything else for you?
You guys have anything?
Ben?
We worked out the deal with TS. I went and met with Joe. Joe agreed to put the printers in. They should be installed soon for the prosecutor. So hopefully they're not going to be loud and distraction, but I think it's going to work out. So I had an in-person conversation with Joe, and that really helped make it work. Rather than having some bickering back and forth emails, we got it taken care of, and it's going to be a go. The only part that we haven't figured out 100% is Moses Lake, just because we haven't been able to go over there and meet together with TS. But I went through a TS with everything. It's going to work out. And so one other thing before I'm done, we did authorize full remote for district court. So originally you'd have to ask to be remote. It's full now. So no one has to ask anymore. It saves clerks time. We did mimic a lot what Superior Court's doing. So we heard about all the goods and bads about it and kind of went that way. So how's it going?
Does that mean you're hybrid now? You're doing remote and in person?
Yes, it's hybrid, but we're allowing remote without everyone saying, I want remote. They don't have to ask anymore. They can just be there. So that was effective the 12th. So it's been.
How's that been going?
We haven't really seen an effect yet.
Okay.
Too early.
Too early.
Too early, yeah. So, but I mean, it'll pop up. Yeah. It was kind of happening a little anyway, so, but, it's 1:30. So you guys need anything else from me?
Nope.
No, I think we're good.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Appreciate it. Maybe some of that stuff around the next 2 weeks.
They
It's
will.
been there a
It's
while.
a scary color.
Is it a scary? I like that. It's a scary color. Yeah. See you guys.
Good afternoon. It's 1:30 p.m. and we are here with Prosecuting Attorney's Office update with Prosecuting Attorney Kevin McCray.
Well, we probably ought to do an executive session for about 10 minutes to go over a couple litigation issues.
Okay. We will go into executive session at 1:30, returning at 1:40 for litigation, RCW 42.30.1101I. It is 1:40 p.m. and we are out of executive session.
Okay, I'll get it.
Mr. Bo,
How we doing?
good.
And Barb's back. Okay, my other concern is, I know you're a PCO, Kevin. My concern is the Republican Party seems to be moving fairly slowly, and that's concerning to me. I was hoping, 3 months would be adequate. They get a month, you guys get a month, and they get a month to kind of turn over with somebody. But they're not moving very fast. So if there's anything you could do to kind of help push them along. I mean, I know they have a process and that kind of stuff,
I'll do that right now.
but I'm hoping that they realize that they're only 1/3 they're only part of the process. And
The
so,
problem is, I don't think that the person running the show knows what he's doing. He is first.
yeah.
And if there's anything I can do to help, I'm happy to help. But yeah, I do realize that. And,
I'll send him an email right now.
but yeah, I've been trying to kind of push things along a little bit, so. And those were the issues I had to raise. Do you guys have anything for me?
I don't today. Do you have anything for him? No?
Nothing else.
Okay.
Nothing else for us?
Nope, I don't think so.
All right.
Let's Barb has some.
We will take
thank you.
recess until 2 p.m. We are back for our weekly commission meeting.
Oh, wait, we do have something on the schedule. It says 2025 travel planner photo.
We already
We talked about that in the executive
Perfect,
session.
okay,
But
thank you so much.
Thanks,
You
Barb.
bet.
Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, May 20th, 2 p.m., and we are here for our weekly commissioners meeting. I will now call the meeting to order and begin with an open forum for public input, 3 minutes per person, 15-minute total time limit. Do we have any members in the audience that have public comment?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak.
Yes, please come to the podium, announce your name and the city of residence for the clerk.
Is this the podium?
You can
Yeah.
just sit at the table, that's fine,
Okay.
Todd.
We don't have our podium anymore.
My name is Todd Holt. I live at 1538 South Lakeway Drive, Moses Lake, Washington. And thank you for allowing me to speak today. I'd like to start off by handing you each out one of these, and I'll explain as we get going. Do you like one?
Oh, I don't need one, thank you.
What's that?
I-
Okay.
I'll take one if you have an extra.
I do.
Thank you.
I made one for you. Okay, so I own some property in the unincorporated area of Wheeler, Washington. I do have one address, and if you look at your paper, it is lot 5 and 6. I bought those two lots, and a storage building is on there. It doesn't show on this map that I supplied with you today, but there's a shop right there, a storage building, right in the middle of lot 5 and 6. So the individual that I purchased this from, Mr. Ed Kuda, he built that shop there, and he must have done, I'm not sure, but he must have done a lot line adjustment. And this is who he bought the property from, and I purchased it from him. And I also, when I purchased the shop, I ended up with the agreement was purchase separately lots 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. You see I have in green lot 7. That does not belong to me. It belongs to Mr. Hernandez, who also owns lot 18, the other lot behind that is highlighted in green. So he owns those two lots. Lot 7 is all those lots are 25 feet wide by 125 feet deep. That was what it was when it was originally platted. And, pardon me?
Argamiro Flores as the owner of lot 7.
Not anymore. So lot 7 is owned by Mr. Hernandez. And I gave that to you. You can see, the reason that I gave that to you is because you can see that this was a plat which was filed July 29th, 1910. Today, this is how I purchased the property. And you can see that I've highlighted in yellow the lots that I own and the legal that it is, and those are individual lots. But down below at the very bottom of the page, it says tax parcels number 1211, 58,000 and 1211, 56,000. Those, one of them is my shop, and one of them is lot 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So what they've done is they've attached a parcel number to all of those individual platted lots right there, so that they can just pay taxes one time. Somebody, Kevin's probably familiar with this process.
Consolidation on it.
They may have, I can't find any record of a consolidation, but they must have done something in order to do that. So the reason, so I bought those, that last one that I gave you, that's mine. And I also have from the title company, title insurance, when they did the title search and everything. The reason that I'm here today is Mr. Hernandez, who owns those 2 green lots. He owns, so I'm 2 blocks. See, I own lot 5 and 6, but I don't own 7. So I can't get alongside my shop without driving on his property or using the 16-foot alley easement that's there, which there's no alley easement. All what that is just a utility easement for the PUD to come down there and cut trees. But so I've made an attempt to purchase lot 7 for Mr. Hernandez multiple times. He refuses to sell it to me because
When did you first try to purchase it?
When did I first try to
How long has this Hernandez been?
He's owned it.
Because it has listing for different names. It has
somebody else's name on it.
Well,
as a Flores.
That's where I'm.
number 7, lot 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other lot you're talking about.
Yeah.
Number 18.
So those 2 lots are owned by a family that owns all of the lots behind me. They own all those. And Flores.
Yeah, Joey Flores.
Yes.
And then they have Alma Flores.
Yeah.
And then the Argumero and Blanca Flores own the 2 that you're talking about.
Yes. So I went to him and I tried to purchase that lot 7. He said no, he didn't want to sell it because they use it sometimes to get to the lot behind. And they just drive through there and drive on the alley. They hardly ever use it. So he came to me and he thought that he owned lot 10, 11, and 12. And I said, no, you don't own lot 10, 11, and 12. I do. But I'd like to purchase 7 from you. And he said, no, I don't want to purchase 7. I said, I'll tell you what. I'll trade you lot 7 for lot 11 and 12. Just trade you straight across, and we'll just go down to the title company and we'll do a quick claim deed, and you can do it. So I called up the county, the assessor's office, and I said, hey, I'd like to sell a lot 11 and 12 to this guy. Well, I'd like to split that off of that tax ID number, 6,000. And they said, well, no, you can't because you have to plat the whole piece. And I said, well, what's that? They said, well, you can't plat it. I said, why? And they said, well, because it's not an acre. I said, so I can't split it off. I can't plat it. And they said, yeah, and you could do incorporate those lots, but I can't guarantee that it'll go through. And I said, well, what do I do? They said, well, there's nothing you can do. And I said, well, it's originally platted when I bought it, according to the statutory warranty deed, abbreviated legal lots 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, block 3 plat of Wheeler. But yet it's been assigned a tax ID number. So my legal says that they're individual lots, but the tax assessor's office says that they're a tax ID number. So they said, well, you have to call up the planning. So I called up the planning, and the planning said, you'll have to call up the assessor's office. And I said, I did. And they said, well, we can't help you. And I said, all I'm asking is that you can leave 8, 9, and 10 one number, or you can take it back, just take off the whole parcel tax number and go back to individual lots, and I'll pay taxes individual lots. And then I can quit claim 11 and 12, and he can quit claim 7, and then I'll own the ones next to my shop and all the way down, and he'll own the 2 behind his lot 18, which is the other green one. And they said, I'm sorry, we can't help you. And I said, so I can't do anything? I said, let me ask you this. I'm gonna go get a building permit. Can I build on a tax ID number? Nope. You have to plat it. I said, so I can't build on it because it's a parcel number, because you can't build on unplatted property. But yet you won't turn it back to individual lots, so that I said, none of it makes sense to me. So, and they won't plat it because it's not an acre. And I guess I could go through the process, and I said, I didn't really want to survey it because it costs $3,000 to survey that.
I'm confused because there's a lot of these lots out here that are not 1 acre lots.
A lot of them, almost all of them.
Most of them are less than an acre.
Every one of them. If you incorporate all 5 of mine together, you barely have, I don't even know if you'd have a half an acre because they're only 25 feet wide.
Yeah, a lot of these are
But there's individual lots that are owned by individual owners that are only 20, well, just like lot 7, 25 by 125. They're non-buildable lots. This guy can't do anything with this. He can't even put a single wide mobile home on there because the setbacks, and he could never get a septic tank and drain field. That's why I don't have water and sewer out at my shop, because I got no room for septic tank and drain field. I can't get a 100-foot radius. So that's why I want that lot 7. And that's why, and he says, I'd really love to have 11 and 12. Now, here comes the next question. Rob and I have already talked about this a long time ago. You see the pink corner? That right there is owned by the county. It's 25 by 50. And you look across the street, lot 18, that one, if you look under, are you on the plat in your computer?
Yeah.
They've had that vacated. But the tavern, which is lot 7 and whatever, that one's not. Mine isn't, and the one across the street from the tavern is not. So if you look at those, you're wondering, why did they do that? Well, in 1900, it was horse and buggies. 1910. It was horse and wagon. So in order to get a 6-horse hitch to make a turn in the center of town and go back out, they had to take those corners off of there.
What year did we work on that?
I was going to work on that.
Well, they were going to require you to survey.
They were going to require me to survey, and I said no, because it's $3,000 to survey, and I don't.
21 or 2?
What?
Was it 2021 or 22?
It was 22.
Okay.
When you and I talked. So, if I do that, I can, if I'm allowed to have a lot 11 and 12 separated off of my tax ID number, that's what I'm here for. If the individual that I'm trading lot 7 for, if he wants to do a vacation, he can do a vacation, or I'd survey it and he can split the cost with me, and he can have that pink if you will vacate that. And I say you, meaning the county. So those are my proposals, but mainly I want 11 and 12 split off of all the rest of my lots so I can have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and 5.
At some point, somebody combined those?
For tax purposes only.
Right, but what happens when they do that is then you're stuck with this situation you have right now,
And I can't go back.
right?
But I can't go back no matter what.
Right.
They're saying I can't go back. I can't do anything. Basically, I can't do anything with my property.
Have you ordered a title report on this property?
When I bought it.
I'd have to look at a title report.
You're gonna have to work through the entire report.
Because
That's, the county,
To consolidate the lots, somebody had to have paid to consolidate them.
well, what they do is they get tired of paying taxes on 8 parcels individually. So then they go into the assessor's office and say, I only want to pay taxes for all these lots, one bill.
right.
Then when they do that, then it creates a big problem.
I don't think it changes the dollar amount. It's easier for the county, the assessor's office to send out 1 versus
Well, that's
7.
That's usually the reason for it, but then it tends to cause more problems down the road.
Yeah.
And then you don't find out about it until you want to do something.
Well, like I didn't know about it until after I bought it.
I'd have to order another title report on this to see what all's on there.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So,
Usually there's links that I can go to look at those.
They wouldn't just consolidate the lots though. I mean, we own in Moses Lake, we have 25-foot lots. I think we have 6 of them. And I did the survey and everything to consolidate them, but it never was done for some reason. I don't know.
yeah, the guy that I'm working with on lot 7 and mine on lot 11 and 12, I mean, he'd pay half the surveying. I know that. And even if he wouldn't, I don't have a problem paying at all. I just don't want to, I'm trading him 2 lots for 1 already.
Well, lot 7's not worth a whole lot.
What?
Lot 7's not worth a whole lot.
It's not, it's only worth something to me, not to anybody else. Because you absolutely cannot do anything with it.
No, you can't. You have to drive.
You can't do anything with it. It's just there, causing me problems. And he can actually use 11 and 12. At some point, he could consolidate 11 and 12, and he can actually put on a 50 by 120 or 125 foot lot, he can put a mobile home on there. And I even told him that he says, well, I'll drill a well, and I said, well, we can do a shared well agreement, and I'll pay for half the well, and you can drill it on my lot 10 if you want. I'm willing to work with him. I'm never going to build on him. I don't care about that. I just really want that lot 7, and there's no way I can get it without trading him. So, thank you for your time, and I don't know what else I can say. I'm stuck.
I'll order preliminary title on it. Once I get the prelim, I'll let you know what I find.
Okay.
It has his name all over it. We could
Maybe keep it as the non-public facing, if you wanted it for the
Yeah,
minutes.
we'll keep it there. You could give that to Caitlin real quick, yeah.
You can keep them. Yeah, I don't.
We have no other public online or in the room. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you very much for your time.
See you next time.
Thank you.
Second motion, and second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes, consent agenda is approved. Correspondence, emails, letters of support.
You got a couple letters or people requesting letters of support. I forwarded one of them to Kevin. It was the Go Rail, I believe. They had originally emailed it to Cindy, but
We had forwarded it to you since you're on that PCC Rail Authority. And then there's also somebody else asking for a letter of support for State Farm. Wasn't it State Farm or something like that? We had asked them for a sample letter and we're just waiting for a response there, but
Okay.
FYI.
Sam Cronstein.
Yeah.
Any other items for correspondence? No?
I don't have any.
So round table item. We can pass this on to Jim Anderson Cook also. But I think when Damien was here, I didn't have much luck with vacating because it's gifting of public funds if the county just vacates it because.
They have to prove it, they have to pay for it.
Yeah.
They would have to have an appraisal done. Make it.
Yeah.
Right.
Would you like staff to send that to Jim Anderson Cook,
You can, yeah.
or do you want to?
No, if you just forward it to him. I already emailed him the parcel number, so he'll be expecting it. But somebody had to have bound those lots together. They don't just do it. Because I have lots that are just like that.
Excuse me.
Yeah, a lot of people do, but.
Costs a lot of money to combine them. Moses Lake Irrigation District, I pay $700 per 25 foot on my tax assessment because it's per lot. Wow. Crazy. But
You might want to talk to them about that.
I already did. They didn't have a good answer. I wasn't impressed. There's those documents. You have them? All of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Any roundtable items?
We have a walk-on.
We have a walk-on item from Grant County Sheriff's Office for 2025 to 2027 law enforcement service agreement with Live Nation for the Gorge Amphitheater. Do you have any roundtable items? All right. Well then,
I would make a motion that we approve items 1 through 19 to include the walk-on item from the sheriff's department.
That'll be a separate motion, sir. The walk-on item.
Yeah, I would make a motion that we accept the agenda 1 through 19 on the consent agenda.
I'll second. Any discussion? Oh, Commissioner Burgess has voted to approve items 1 through 19 on the consent agenda. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes as stated by Commissioner Burgess. I'll entertain a motion to approve the walk-on item from the Sheriff's Office for 2025-2027 Law Enforcement Services Agreement with Live Nation.
All right, so move.
Second. Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Walk-on item is approved. Now we'll come sign these.
I feel like you're putting on today, Barb.
Did you see me hide behind my?
Okay, so I just have to make a request. I'm gonna, the VOCC makes a motion. Technically, outside is not supposed to speak into the board's motions. So when you'll make a comment during the motion, or when you just did, technically, it's blocked to the outside. It's just a board function at that point. And I'm not a Robert's Rules stickler, you know that. But sometimes I'm like, okay, we're in the middle of a motion, and now you're like speaking into the motion, and now we're gonna illegally adjust the motion.
I was just, we always have a separate motion and he did not remember. I was.
That's okay, I know.
Gently.
I could have
You could,
discussed with my,
you could have instead of me just.
or we could pass it that way, but we don't normally do that.
Right.
But we
Just
could.
trying to keep it.
Consistent. I know. I just worry. I'm like,
Emma.
There is a place for you guys to sign in that contract.
Oh, goodness. glad you have a great sense of humor, Commissioner Burgess.
I was laughing, I couldn't stop.
Oh, gosh. I am, my face is red, I'm breaking out in a sweat.
Good.
Oh.
Hey, there's a lot of stuff to learn and to remember.
There is, that's why I thought I was being helpful.
Wait till you get to the planning thing.
I forgot to say it's not here.
When? She would have made the motion, she would have asked it too.
Now I understand why older folks say, they just say and things just come out of their mouth. I'm becoming that person. It just,
What happens when you reach a certain age?
it just goes black.
Oh, you're doomed.
Yep. If you've met my father, you would know that was true.
You know what you're gonna be like in your future?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Should we all be scared?
Have you met my dad?
I think I probably have. You said
Probably.
he's a police officer for the city for years, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's been around for a bit.
And he supported you working at the commissioner's
I'm
office.
pretty sure. I've seen
He
that.
said,
Something's wrong with him.
he said it'll be hit and miss on how people feel about me.
Oh, nobody knows who he
He,
is.
he had also suggested
Change.
not saying his name during the interview just in case the interviewers
Oh,
were on the team that was not a fan.
no, most of them are probably gone by the time you came.
Maybe. I don't know.
But I've learned that Grant County is, the interviews aren't bad. Everything's not bad unless an elected official has an issue with you.
So it's bad. It's not bad, it's not bad.
During my interview, I asked,
Who were you interviewed by?
Barb and Brittany and John Hartman was there also.
None of them had any idea who you were.
John Hartman knows me.
Does he?
Yeah, he knows my family.
How'd you know him? He
I
should have
couldn't-
reclused himself.
couldn't tell. I don't know that he realized who I was until we were most of the way through that interview, because it's been a while since I've seen him, but he knows my parents.
So is this a sells wine or sells beer application?
It'll tell you at the bottom, it'll say what they're applying for, but I'm not sure.
Well, I have to check the boxes to allow it. I don't know what they're selling. Because nobody checked the boxes.
Are they applying for all of
A
those?
special occasion
things?
license allows the organization to sell beer, wine, or spirits. But I don't know which one they're trying to sell. Barb,
It was me.
was you?
Received it.
Crescent Bar.
Yeah.
Does it say on the top?
Says Greater Crescent Bar Owners Association, Doug Picotti. Outdoor event. Yeah, I don't remember seeing one like this. To approve the applicant, yes. To approve the event location, yes. But I don't know what they're selling. Or if they're just consuming. I don't know anything.
That one we
Private
sent
party.
to Jim Anderson.
It's a liquor one. We don't send those to
Liquor,
Jim.
yeah.
But they've been changing the formatting on the liquor license applications. So I swear the last like 3 that we've
But they're
gotten
not
has
checking
been a
what they're-
different.
I mean, more than likely, they're just gonna be given beer and wine, right?
Probably just give them beer and wine.
That's what I did.
Spirits, you're in violation.
Call my dad.
Does he still work there?
Right now, yeah, he had surgery not too long ago, and so he's on a medical leave, but he also just turned in his retirement notice. Yay.
How old is he?
He, don't
Yeah,
ask me
light
basic
out.
math questions. Come on now, he was born in
Are we
66.
approving denial or are we approving?
You're approving the recommendation to deny.
Okay.
He's been with the Afraid of Police
You
for
approve the
30
applicant.
some odd years,
We don't have an issue with the applicant.
so.
Yes? No.
I think you have two stuck together there.
Yeah.
So it's
These don't
looking
make
like
any sense to me.
beginning of July is when he'll retire. So sometime near the end of
Oh,
June or
yeah.
beginning of
That
July,
was right.
I'll leave work for a little bit to go see his last call.
Nice.
Very exciting. Well, we'll bring Lily to that. And then that way, my dad can have pictures with Lily during his last call.
I was just hoping to babysit Lily.
Barb, yeah, work.
Someone said maybe you could do that. Maybe they'd like to have a date night.
Exactly.
Do it on a weekend.
I know weekends are kind of hard, but after
My,
You're
she's
fired.
only available every other Thursday from 4 to 4:30. Barb and I are gonna go tour the jail this week.
The new one?
Yeah.
Nice.
We're gonna go tour the old one.
No, you don't want to do it.
No, we're not.
It's not good.
reminds me, we gotta make sure we wear closed-toed shoes.
No comment in opposition. So this one's fine, okay, now I need it.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Yeah, my bad.
Oh, you checked the wrong box.
This is one of those days for everybody.
So.
One of those days when I don't wanna wake up. Approving approvals, approving denials, it's hard to keep up.
Sign it somewhere else.
This is a request for Swahel to sign it.
Oh, so to sign the contract.
Yeah, well, I think both of these, yeah, were requests for Swahel to sign.
Speaking of slow, we'll see her email about.
Yeah, I mean, I think she should be there, or staff should be there, or,
Somebody should be.
I mean, what's the point of me going in if nobody's there? They don't all need to be there, but at least if they have complaints or things they want changed or comments. That's what I'm going for.
What are you looking for?
Nothing. Hey, you all, miss.
Thanks.
Any other work for the agenda? If not, then I will be signing off at 2:34 p.m.